My topic is how my speech defect built my career. My speech defect is really painful, and it is that I don't know how to say no. And the evidence is in front of you. What's alarm twisted me to show up at this gig, follow Partha? What am I doing? I'm making a fool of myself, and I know it. I feel like I walked into a TED talk by mistake. So tough act to follow, Partha, because mine is nothing like yours. So now I realize I think I'm the comic relief. So be prepared. And I need glasses. Bear with me. So my topic is how my speech defect built my career. Can any of you guess what my speech defect is? Aha, kya baat hai. This is like those humble brags at interviews. Tell me some weakness. Sir, I speak very fluently. No, my speech defect is really painful, and it is that I don't know how to say no. And the evidence is in front of you. What's alarm twisted me to show up at this gig, follow Partha? What am I doing? I'm making a fool of myself, and I know it. But it's all right. Since I don't know how to say no, we'll get on with it. I started in school. I remember the first time I got into real trouble because I didn't know how to say no, because my closest friend persuaded me to climb up small mountain, a big hill, probably really just a modest mound, but it was set right in the middle of Bhabha Atomic Research Center's campus near Chembur. And when we reached the top, we realized that it was an army outpost. They were there to protect the whole atomic thing. And we were about to escape, but the vigilant soldiers caught us, boxed our ears, realized that we were just some harmless kids, and sent us scampering off. Literally scampering off, because I scampered all the way down that hill, twisted my calf muscle on the left leg. Even now, once in a while in the middle of the night, I wake up with pain and then I can't go back to sleep. Because I didn't know how to say no, when I joined Roger Pereira, a doyen of advertising of his time, the first job he gave me was to proofread 30 speeches which had happened at some really big international conference that India had hosted, 87, 88. Sam, maybe you were there, or you remember? I don't even remember the name of the conference, but I read those speeches about 200 times in that 1 month, proofread those speeches, and I needed to read them 200 times because I took time to figure out the mistakes. But when I look back now, I can tell you that you can put up a billboard 50 feet away from me and I can spot the mistake in it in the flash of an eye. I can proofread brochures, paragraphs, whatever. So if nobody ever gives me another job as head of marketing, proofreader, guaranteed, I'll do very well. And I'll do very quick work. The other gift I got from it, and that's why I'm sure Sam was there as well, is it was almost like I got a crash course in advertising in that 1 month, and media, because I read those things and they subliminally sank into me, because before that I'd never studied advertising. After that, I have not studied advertising or marketing, and yet here I am, lucky sod. While I was still at Roger Pereira, their first computer also showed up. So the proofreading happened because there was no spell check before that. So the first PC came, and I was the rookie in the office, right, who had no real job. So they said, "Tu dekh le yaar, demo le le, dekhenge hum baad mein dekh lenge." So for about 6 months, I had the PC to myself, and therefore I became the computer guy in the office. Oh, IT wale ko bulana? That was me for that one PC. As it happened, one of the assignments that Roger got at that time was to give a name to a tea drying machine. If any of you don't know what that is, we can talk about it later. So my job, come up with a name for a tea drying machine, and since I was playing with this computer, it occurred to me that I should write a program to come up with a name. I didn't know the first thing about coding, so I called in a classmate of mine from college who knew how to code in COBOL, if I remember right, and she and I sat together and she wrote this program which generated, with some inputs from me, 1,600 names. We won the business, I'm happy to say, and so I got all pompous and I decided that I'm going to become a naming expert. So even now, whether it's people's babies or products at office, whenever there is a naming job, even if we give it to the damn agency, they'll never win. I'll make sure that my stupid name is the one that's going to win. I once got really lucky with a brand name, and I'll tell you about that in a second. In my first job after business school, I joined an ad agency. multinational ad agency. And in my first month at the agency, my boss and his boss both got tossed on the street, literally. Just when they had left for a meeting, their stuff was taken and thrown out on the street because they'd been up to some shenanigans we won't talk about right now. But that afternoon, we had a meeting scheduled with the managing council of the Bombay Stock Exchange. So I was asked, "Tu jayega kya?" I don't know how to say no. I said, "Sure, मैं चला जाऊंगा." And I went to, I think, the second most intimidating meeting of my life. This is the first most intimidating meeting. There was this massive room. There's this building called Rotunda there, and there's this massive room which I think is built right at the top of it, probably. I can't remember now. Huge circular conference room. I don't know why, because in the middle there didn't seem to be anything. And I walked in through a door and I got the seat right at the door, and there were all these wise old gentlemen sitting around. I blanked out. Today I can't remember what was said, what I did, whether there was business to be got, etc. But I know I survived that meeting and I came back and we had a couple more calls apparently, so must have gone reasonably okay. And that gave me, as it happens, the confidence to one day take up cudgels with the BSE for something, which also I'll come to in just a second. And I have a timer, so I will not. I'll save you guys some time that Partha ate up. What it did was, when I joined my friends to do a startup in the brokerage space, and we wanted to advertise it, the BSE said, "You can't advertise. We are brokers. We are gentlemen professionals like doctors and architects. We don't advertise." So I asked for a meeting with them, and I told them that because you don't advertise, mutual funds are having your lunch. So what the hell? As it turns out, that was convincing enough, and they bought it, and we've been allowed to advertise ever since, which is why you see Upstocks and Grow and so on and so forth on TV now. IPL apparently. I had a reinforcing experience also that this defect is not that bad a thing, because when I had an MNC client at the time, and I would go and meet with the brand manager or his boss or her boss and so on. As I left one day, I noticed that in the cubicle area, and there was a gentleman. He didn't even have a cubicle. So all the management trainees had cubicles, all the slightly senior people had cabins. There was this one gentleman who just had his computer against a pillar in the room. But sitting next to him was a sweet gentleman, grey-haired or white-haired, I can't remember now, in very animated conversation with him with some large spreadsheets in front of them. And I was wondering what's going on here, because that guy with the PC at the pillar didn't seem like he was some big power broker of any kind. Over the next few visits, I saw him again and again. And then it dawned on me that he was actually a very familiar face, and that familiar face is sitting in the front row today. It was Sam. You remember Sam Konduskar? Yes. So Mr. Konduskar was the gatekeeper for all the advertising that would go on Doordarshan in those days, which was the only channel. And he would decide which of the brands would go and which schedule and so on. So Sam, who obviously ran his own agency then, had built the rapport with that gentleman, and I'm guessing Sam got more than his fair share of advertising space because of that. And that is one of my biggest lessons. Not only saying no to any work that's thrown at you, but also making sure to make friends all the way from the lift operator to the receptionist to the cafeteria guy, and stop 3 levels below the senior most, because those 3 levels actually can't achieve anything. All the gatekeeping happens at these levels. So be friends with all of these people. Big lesson for me. Thank you, Sam. I'm nearly at the end of this. I also had an itch to be in the movie business. I still do. So if anyone's hiring, not in front of the camera, at the back. I was inspired by the likes of Bidhu Vinod Chopra on the back of his movie Parinda, Mani Ratnam on the back of Nayakan, and I actually managed to get interviews with both of them. Usual drill, please come. We'll not pay you anything, but you can learn. You can be AD. Next time you can be director. It's all up to you, etc. That didn't go very well. But I did manage to get an interview with, at the time, Arun Nanda used to run Sony, the channel. As it happened, luckily for me, the day my interview was scheduled, Arun was ill, and I ended up being interviewed by one of the founders of Sony, who said, "Yes, sab rehne, you come with me, we'll build a studio and we'll make shows and sell exclusive to Sony." I didn't know anything about building studios. I didn't know anything about making shows. I didn't know anything about saying no. So I said yes, and I ended up making a few reality shows. One of them was called Star Yaar Kalakar. Another of them ended up being Jay Leno for India for some time. So that went well as well. Around that time, my friends from business school and I got together saying, कुछ करते हैं, कुछ करते हैं, कुछ करते हैं. And they said, चल, we are going to do this internet company which will be in the brokerage space. Same story. I don't know internet, I don't know brokerage. What the hell, I don't know how to say no. चल करते हैं. And we ended up launching what got famous for a short time called Sher Khan. So that was, again, the name that I gave. That's probably the only thing I did in that company. I passed on that. In fact, as it happens, I got my current job also only on the back of that thing, because for the first 3 years after I joined Kotak, I saw Uday, if he was introducing me to some other people, he would say, this is the guy who was at Sher Khan. I was like, 3 साल से काम कर रहा हूँ, यहाँ कुछ नहीं किया है आपके लिए, तो आप बस उसी की बात कर रहे हो. Yeah. And then, last story. My previous employer at Sony called me one day out of the blue and said, can you go to Sydney in a week and sell tickets to a cricket show? So, same problem. I don't know how to say no. So I said yes. Turns out that he had an investment in a very small DTH operation, and this is ahead of its time because Tata Sky didn't exist in India at the time, which used to also try to sell video on demand. So cricket series you had to pay extra for. This was 10 Sports, India-Pakistan series. So I landed up there. We were selling the subscription to that extra show via faxes in the first week. Then I innovated and we started selling it by SMS. We were getting approvals over, yes, I want it. So $100, got it, take it away. Had more fun with that business for quite a while. In fact, it ended up being the first DTH platform in the world, I think, which had Sony, Zee, Star, NDTV all on the same platform. So again, predated India. Kya fayda hua? I came back to India because my wife and my daughter wanted me back and I couldn't say no. And luckily for me, Kotak wanted to hire me and I didn't say no to that either. I've been at Kotak now for 15 years, not saying no to anything they asked me to do. Thank you.